Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, Relax.Cut.Glue. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy to have you all here with me today. You guys, I have missed you so much, and I am so excited to be back in my craft room. I feel like I got hit by a semi-truck, but physically, a little mentally. But that's par for the course when you have fibromyalgia and you're going through some holiday times. I mean, let's be honest, you don't even have to have a chronic illness to feel a little bit rough after the holidays, because it's a lot, emotionally and physically, right? So today I'm going to be working in my Pick 5 glue book. If you're new to my channel, you might not have seen me do this. I haven't done it in a very long time. I have done it a couple times with the glue crew, but I decided to do that today. I'm going to be using a Good Housekeeping magazine. Now, for my Pick 5 glue book, I do mine my own way, and I have a binder, and inside my binder, I have, these are the pages. So I always pick one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and that's what I use to make my collage. And then on the back of my collages, I write the date, the magazine, when the magazine was, and the numbers that I picked. So these are some of them that I've done in the past, and I'll show you here in a second what they look like, or how I got to this point with these. I'll explain the process. Some of these are better than others. Okay, so that's it. So my last one I did was with the glue crew in November. So basically what I do is I grab an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Let me do that right meow. It doesn't matter the color or anything, and I just bent it a little bit. This is just some navy blue. And I ask Alexa to give me 5 random numbers in the perimeters of how many pages there are in my magazine. So this magazine has 164 pages, because I have to count this one. This is 162. So I'm going to ask her to pick me 5 random numbers between 1 and 164. And then I'm going to go to those pages, rip out that page, and make a collage with those 5 magazine sheets. So let's do that. All right, gluers. So now I'm asking Alexa for the 5 numbers. Those are the numbers that she gave me. And now I'm going to go through my magazine and find those pages and pray to the crafty gods that I get some good pages. This one was good because there was a lot of color on it, so I was happy with that. I did get quite a few pages that had great color, but nothing like went together. So it's just a random collage. This is a great one. I've used that image in another glue book of mine. This one was not so great. And then let's see, the last one, that one was all right. Oh no, that wasn't the last one. This one was good too because I had a lot of purple and stuff like that in it. So the next step for me is to look through all my pages and kind of figure out what I want to be my focal point. What will some of my main fussy cuts be? What do I want to use as background? And that's kind of how I work the process. So I kind of find the pages that I want to use for background images first, along with the focal image, like I said. I didn't really have one standalone focal image for this page, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. But the best part about this is that it's a challenge. It's a challenge for you to use just what you have, those 5 sheets of magazine paper. You can use the front or the back and just see what you can create out of that. And it's okay if it doesn't turn out great because maybe you didn't get great images. You know what I mean? It's just for funsies, so don't worry about it. And you just have to go with the flow and kind of do the same process I did. Find what you want for your backgrounds, find what you want for your focal images, find some good words, keep all of your scraps. Trust me on this, you will go back through your scraps a million times over, even if you think you won't. Keep them all in a little pile on your table. You will thank me later. I promise. So I go through, right now I'm kind of cutting what I know I want to be my background images. I'm going to put all the scraps to the left. And I know that I can keep going through those. So I'm going to focus on grabbing what I know I want right out of the gate. And that's what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting some squares, rectangles to make kind of a base of a background. And I just kind of go with the flow. When I first did this, I felt so much pressure. And then I realized, why am I putting so much pressure on myself? It's just a fun little crafty challenge. And it's not like you got to pick the images that you used, right? So that's what's when you let that go and you realize it's just for fun to figure out what you can create with sometimes really crappy pages. And it's amazing what your brain will come up with. It's really good for your brain. It really is. Because you really have to think outside the box. And that's what I really love about this. Once I let everything just go and know it's just for fun, I definitely had more fun with it. So like I said, I'm just kind of going through and cleaning things up and making some background pages. And then I'm going to put those down and kind of go from there. Like I said, I would have normally cut out my main focal image, like a big fussy cut. I didn't have one that I wanted to be my main focal. So that's why I'm just putting down some, of these backgrounds first, and then I'll go from there. And you just have to play around and see. If my page is out of frame here, just have a little bit of patience. I'll move my page back down in a second here. It's been a couple days. I'm out of practice. You guys, I am so exhausted. My eyes are so swollen today. Oh my gosh, they are so swollen. I am exhausted. I hope you guys all had a great holiday. We certainly did. It was a lot of fun. But oh man, am I tired? Okay, here's the backgrounds coming together. And there's going to be a point where you're like, well, at least for me. Okay, for me, there's always a point where I'm like, oh man, where is this going? This is awful. But you have to trust the process. And like I said, it's totally fine if it's not good. But it will be, because you're doing the best you can with what you have. And that's the best part. It's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. You got this. I don't know why. This one gave me so much trouble. Not trouble, but I really had to focus and try and figure out what I was going to do here. Oh, my husband's home already. Oh, how nice. He had to go to work for a little bit today. Okay, so I'm setting down my foundation. Now I'm going to start going through my pages, kind of seeing what I have for the fussy cuts and the words, cutting out some things I think will look good. I found this little scrap right here. It has some grass with a little bit of sky, and it's just more color. So the more color I can add down, I feel like, for me personally, it will make everything come together better because it's more interesting if there's some color to it. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. So I'm finding all the little bits of color I can to add to the page. And I've had some times where I do this and I get a lot of black and white images with just little pops of color. That's really cool too. If you get a page that, say it's an ad for, a medication, how they'll have a 2-page layout of just verbiage, use that as background. You can tear it into strips, cut it into strips, make something abstract out of it, because once you cut it up, they can't read the words and the words are all jumbled. So it makes it look more abstract-y and not like they're reading a paragraph, if that makes sense. So I definitely want to cut out. Okay, so here's the deal. There were a ton of words for me to cut out. And it got to the point where there was just so many. And so I was kind of picking and choosing where I thought they might kind of go together. We kind of have I guess if I had to say there was a theme, it's kind of family. You have some kids that are drawing, maybe a teenager that's into hair. I will have some books. I have food. It's just kind of like a homey vibe. I don't know. That's kind of what I was going with here, because that's what I had. But so I don't end up using the word lab because there was just so many words and I wanted them to kind of make sense. You know what I mean? But typically I would. If there's words like this bright pink, I'm cutting up little shapes. This is what I'm talking about for the abstract part. I do this every time. I love it. So if you find blocks of color, cut them out into shapes like circles or squares or rectangles or strips, and then just kind of glue them on the page, and you'll see what a difference it makes, especially if you need color. This is a great way to find it. So I'm just kind of going through now and cutting out some of the fussy cuts. So I had that like dog treats there. I didn't add that. I didn't have a single dog in the photo. So it didn't make sense to me. So I didn't add it. Even though this is technically abstract or random. I don't know. That was just too random for me, if that makes sense. This is seriously so fun though, you guys. You really should try it. You really should. And if you find that picking 5 random numbers are too hard for you, because it can be challenging, I will fully admit that. Just pick 5 pages out that you like out of a magazine and start there, and then maybe try the challenge. And you don't have to ask Alexa for the 5 numbers. You can ask a family member. Just pick 5 random numbers. You know, that's just how I do it, just because it's easy for me. But yeah, definitely get your numbers however you feel like you want to. Now, here's all my scraps, and I go back to them so many times. That's why I stress. And this is where the real creativity comes out, I feel like, because you are literally grasping at straws to find whatever you can to make your page come alive. And this is where I feel like the creativity really comes in at full force, because your brain's like, I only have this to work with, so let's figure out what we can do with this. And it's really, really fun. And a lot of these words, like I had that good to go, I didn't add it. I kind of wanted to, but there were so many big words by the end of this that I was just like, it's just too much, you know? So I'll save those. I'll put it in my fussy cut box or my word box for another day. But yeah, I didn't end up using it. Spoiler. But here's where I'm adding some blocks of color, just to kind of add more interest to the page. And all these would have been scraps that were thrown in the recycling bin anyway. So definitely use those blocks of color. Really helps. Big old truck. It has been raining like crazy the last couple days. I saved 2 caterpillars the other day. I don't know why, but I keep seeing caterpillars outside, just like laying there on the cement, and I move them over to the grass. I don't know. I've always done that. I do that if there's worms in my driveway too. I know, I'm a nut. Okay, so I went back through and I found some more words. Like this one says bake what you love, and I have that pound cake right there. This is what I was talking about. It's kind of like family. You have some food and some baking. The hair, I figure, is kind of like a teenager. You have some books and a book club. Maybe that's mom. We have some houses. Do you kind of see where I was going? That's kind of the vibe I was going with here. And then I had those 2 words, stronger family. I put those by each other. So it's weird how you feel like you don't have a theme, and then next thing you know, it's like coming together, you know, even if it's random. And I was like, I have this little strip. What do I do with this? Add more to the page. And if you're not a huge like color fan, then you don't have to do this. But you could do it with black images or tans and browns if you're more, you know, like the more subtle look. You don't have to do it with the bright colors. I just feel like it just brings more to the table for my art. Those are 2 little books right there. It's coming together. This is kind of the fun part, because you realize like all the hard work's kind of done, and now you just get to decorate, I guess. You know what I mean? See, there was just like, it was just too much. It was just too much. And then at some point you have to know when to stop, and that's kind of hard. And you know, usually, well, not usually, sometimes when I do this, I have very little scraps left. Like I use every ounce of color, words, whatever that I can, right? This time I had quite a bit of scraps left because I had a lot of background images to begin with, which was pretty rare. Kind of threw me off a little bit. You don't normally get that much good kind of background image. So I did have more scraps because I was blessed with some good background images. And like I said, I'm going back through my scraps, finding more. You know, the more you look, the more you see. You miss things the first couple times you go through them, you know. So keep looking. And then when you're done, toss it all in the recycle bin. Or go through it and see if you can find images to put in your fussy cut box, you know? You never know. This was like a circle that had, wait, what was this? Hold on. Oh, yeah, that was the tree from the kids' artwork. And then I ended up cutting out the clouds too, just to kind of add down at the bottom there. I don't know. I mean, you're taking one image and kind of spreading it around the page. I feel like that makes it more cohesive when you do that, you know? And now I'm going through and finding little things. There were a bunch of like adults that were in little circles. I only ended up cutting out one because at this point I was just over it. Not over it, but I didn't feel like cutting out a bunch of little circles. Actually, that's a lie. Okay, this is what happened, okay? I cut out the one lady. I didn't cut out the circle so great. I went to cut out another one and I didn't cut it right. And then I was like, you know what? I'm over it. That's what really happened. So I only cut out one little circle lady right here. Those are all those people. I was going to cut out every single one of them. And then I was like, yep, nope. I picked my battles. Today, this battle was lost. I was just not cutting out those little circle people. Wasn't happening. You can see there where I cut right into the guy. You can totally see. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Do I want to use the hair? So I'm going through, double checking again. And it's crazy. The more you look, the more you find. And I just keep going through and finding and adding and putting a little bit more here and a little bit more there. And this is kind of where you're realizing you're pretty much done. But let me just go through one more time, see if anything, you know, catches my eye. And if it does, I'll add it. If not, I'll move along, you know. I wasn't going to add this at first. And I was like, well, I might as well. Why not? Just another pop of color. And it talked about being a book club. That's why I put it up there by the books. I thought it was kind of cool. Just, you know, more color to add. That part where you're like, do I stop? Do I go through one more time? And finally, I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just cut out the hair. I just felt weird leaving it behind because it was like good font, a purple background. So I kind of added it right there just to kind of, it just blended things better for me, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I did it. I added it. I'm still trying to add that good to go. And it just wasn't working for me. I don't know. All right. So now I'm calling it a day, cleaning up my scraps. I'm going to fill out my little page I put on the back here. This is just something I did in like a document form. Printed out a bunch. I keep them in my binder and then I can fill them out. You don't have to do this. This is just something I've always done. I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like the back of an artist trading card. That's how I think of it. And that way I know what magazine I used, when I did it. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to look back on, you know. Oh, the Shermanator's waking up. All right, guys. I hope you give this a try. It is so much fun. Trust me on it. It really is. It's a blast. All right, everyone. So here is my finished collage doing the Pick 5 challenge. This was a challenging one. I did have lots of color, so I'm grateful for that. But nothing really went together all that much. So it's just a random page of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It was so fun. And one of the things that I love to do the most with these Pick 5 glue book challenges is I like to take some of the color and make abstract shapes with them. I do that all the time. I absolutely love doing that. It's a great way to add more color to your page, especially if you don't have a lot of color to work with. Although these were colorful, they weren't very bright. And so bringing in the pink and the orange kind of brightened everything up just a little bit. But I think this is super cute. I really like it, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It's certainly challenging, but remember, that's the point. It's kind of fun to see what your brain can come up with the 5 sheets of magazine images. And just don't put pressure on yourself because it's okay if it doesn't turn out fantastic. It's just a challenge of what you can make out of what you were given. And it's so fun. It really is. Okay, so let's add this to the folder. Let's get you in there. All right, there she goes. Another one in the books. And I put all my stuff on the back there, so we are good to go. All right, everyone, that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I really appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, friends.